What's going on, everybody? It's Sub Up of the Week time. It's Toy Car Foosh Boy, and he pays his ode to the old Asian-style martial arts movies. The audio's a little off. We tried multiple times to refilm it. I still highly encourage you to check it out and sub up his channel and enjoy. Here we go! Toy Car Foosh Boy, it's time for you to introduce yourself, answer those questions, and show your fish. We're doing it a little differently this time. And make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell for not only Toy Car Foosh Boy, but also myself. Leave a comment if you want to see some more exciting people on Sub Up of the Week. And now, it's time to get to know another YouTuber.
What's up, Jay? This is Toy Car Foosh Boy. First question Jay wanted me to answer was who I am and why should people watch me. First off, I've been on YouTube for a couple years now. Been keeping fish off and on for about 35 plus years. Very avid African cichlid keeper. I also keep a couple of South American cichlids along with a couple of tropical tanks, along with a planted tank, along with 2 different breeding colonies. So I've got a lot going on. Also a member of Mixed African Cichlids on Google+. If you're not a member, come check us out. It's a great group. I'm now part owner of Mixed African Cichlids group. I do a lot of DIY stuff. I do a lot of reinventing things that other people do. Do a lot of experimentation and seeing what things work for myself and for others. I like assisting other people who have problems, and I love commenting and hearing comments on my videos. So thanks, Jay. So this is a super interesting question. What started me in fish keeping? Everybody has tons of different things about this. I kind of think my story is pretty interesting, not to sound conceited. But when I grew up on a pond, and we also had a lake house. Well, the pond that we lived on, we also had a small concrete retaining type fountain pond in the backyard. So my first experiences with that were getting goldfish from like the church bazaar, fairs that came in town, stuff like that, and keeping them in that little small pond in the backyard. And again, this is a cinder block line type of pond, nothing fantastic or anything, but it had a cool shape. It's kind of like a long rectangle with a small square cut out in the middle of one end. And in the middle of it, a little fountain person shooting water. But so I started off keeping goldfish in there, started keeping some small sunbream and stuff I'd catch out of the pond out back of the house. And after a while, I realized, what was needed to keep these animals alive inside of that. The neighbor that we had at a lake house in Wateree, South Carolina, Mr. Bodie, he actually kept a couple of fish tanks on his back porch. I was 5 or 6 years old, and he was a really good friend of the family, really good friend to me, even though he's 10 times my age. But I started catching really cool looking sunbream that had really beautiful orange colors on them. And I started going over to his house and dropping them in these 75-gallon tanks that he had on his porch, because I thought they were real cool. And instead of eating them, I really wanted to watch them and see them grow. So after doing this 5 or 6, 7, 8, 20 times, I don't know, he caught me and he said, "Oh, that's where all these fish have been coming from." Well, I've been buying much more fish food than what I normally would buy for those. And he had 2 75 gallons, one each side of the door. Well, the one on the right-hand side is the one I kept throwing them into. So he decided at that point in time he was going to start teaching me more about fish keeping so I could learn about how to take care of these fish and learn that what I was doing was detrimental to the fish that were there, detrimental to the fish I was adding because I was overstocking. Bad. So, thanks, Mr. Bodie. That's pretty much how I got into fish keeping. I've kept so many different fish, it's just freaking ridiculous. I've had everything from Aluna Cara to Zebra Daniels. There you go, the A to Z. So that's how I got into fish keeping. So, the worst thing that ever happened to me in fish keeping, this is kind of 2 different stories. One of the ones that was most emotional, and I'll never forget, was a tiger Oscar I had, Pokey. I had him for about 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years. Well, one time I was gone from the house and was out most of the day, most of the evening. The power had gone out. This is during winter, so the temperature of the tank had dropped down. When I was home to realize it, I did a water change on the tank and tried to revive, him back to a more active state. Pokey ended up getting a bacteria infection because of the stress from what was going on. He ended up getting head in the hole disease, or hole in the head disease, backwards. He ended up getting white spot fungus. I was treating the tank for close to 4 weeks, doing water changes every day, doing my absolute best to keep my friend alive. I'd had him, like I said, for 5 years or so. He was my only roommate for about a year and a half of that period of time. I finally came to the realization that Pokey was not in a great state of life. It was not a way I would want to see a friend. It was not a way I would want to be. I had dumped all kinds of different medications, done tons of different research. He'd get better for a little while, and then something else would attack him. Basically, his immune system was shot. It was just too much stress, too many different things going on. So I figured I'd give him about 2 weeks of nothing but water changes to try and alleviate some of this stress and give him a cleaner environment with no bacteria, no infections, no medications, no anything going on except clean water, which, by the way, is the best way to revive a fish usually. Well, Pokey was not doing good. He was still very stressful. He had problems swimming. He'd get a little sideways and come back up. So I decided that he needed to be euthanized. It wasn't a point of me trying to keep the fish alive anymore for anything else than my own pleasure of seeing him. It was not a life that he needed to have or to still be in. It was a very difficult decision to make, one that I would go back and do again the same way, except, maybe I wouldn't dump as much medication in and do all that stuff and just reverse it at the beginning and do tons of water changes to begin with. But live and learn, as they say. One of the few times that I relied solely on medication for almost a month to try and help him out. So, there you go.
Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everything you do for this channel, whether it's 1 view or 1 million views. It's just great to have this channel for this long and to continue putting out content for folks just like you. I want to give a special thank you to everyone that's participated in Sub Up of the Week. If you want to see somebody specific, let us know in the comments, or if you'd like to be a part of it, let us know as well. I thank you so much for everything you do to keep this channel relevant, and remember, be a better person. Let somebody in traffic, wave to them, thank somebody, hold the door for somebody, and if they hold the door for you, be sure to say thank you. You know what's next. Holla!